This is going to be my second political commentary. Hopefully I do better than I did in my first one. Over the last year, we have heard this contention, especially since the primaries, we heard this contention between Mr. Trump and the Democrats and Hillary Clinton specifically. Now, we have heard since the primaries this constant battle between the two, with Mr. Trump talking about Hillary's crimes, her crimes as far as the email scandal is concerned, as far as what's under investigation is the pay for play when she was the Secretary of State, and through the Clinton Foundation. And what she have on him, she says, he's misogynistic and he's a racist. Well, is he a racist? The evidence doesn't point to that. Okay, the evidence doesn't point to that. Is he misogynistic? Does he like the ladies? Yeah. Now, Bill Clinton was the same way. And you say, well, that's Bill and not Hillary. But you understand, with all that he did, Hillary was aiding and abetting it after the fact. Okay? So she was aiding and abetting this after the fact, helping cover it up and all that. But what have we heard about the actual proposed policies, the proposed actions if they get president? Well, you heard Mr. Trump. He's talking about reducing the taxes. He's talking about bringing American businesses back. He's talking about making true trade deals that favor the United States. Hillary, on the other hand, is simply recycling Obama speeches. Green energy, which has failed and cost us billions in the failure. Okay? And all these things that have failed. She's never really talking about anything new, any new ideas. Now, I want you to understand something, though. She does talk about abortion. And she has favored abortion up until the 9th month. I mean, it's a viable child. Now, let's understand how they can abort a child in the 9th month. It's a legal point. A person is defined as a human being who has been born and is alive. Prior to birth and after death, you really have no rights. So when they do a partial birth abortion, by whatever means they do, one is to induce labor on a woman, to bring the child out, breech, feet first, and before the child's head can leave the vagina, and before the child can take its first breath, the back of the head is punctured and the brain is sucked out. Okay, and that's okay with Hillary Clinton. It's not okay with Donald Trump. Now, I want you to understand something. I want you Christians to listen real close. Okay? She has these policies. Okay? Now, if you walk in and flip a lever for her, you are aiding and abetting her objective. She has these beliefs. She has these objectives. She is not empowered to carry them out because she's not in office. But if you flip the lever and put her in office, that means you are aiding and abetting that. You are an accessory to all the deaths that are caused by her policies. I'm talking about the deaths of unborn children. Also is the attack on your constitutional rights. The biggest one on the picture is the Second Amendment. In every case, when personal liberties are removed, the right to keep firearms is the first to go. That's what Hitler did, Stalin did it, or actually Lenin did it, and it's uniform, and that's the first one. Now, when you see her become president and you see abortions rise, and when you see the government paying for abortions, okay, You don't complain about it. If you flip that lever for Hillary Clinton or you didn't vote at all, don't complain about it because you aided and abetted. You are an accessory to that. It's real simple. There's no way around that fact. If you empowered her to carry out her objectives, aiding and abetting. Do we Christians want to aid and abet somebody who openly says that she would kill unborn child? In Trump, you say to Trump, well, he may have flip-flopped. But she flat says she believes in being able to kill a baby in the 9th month of pregnancy. So what about forcing the government to pay for it, forcing hospitals to do it? Well, you understand that in this term, the first 4 years, or 8, if she would go 8, in the first 4 years, she is liable to replace 4 Supreme Court justices. Anthony Scalia has already passed away, and his seat is sitting empty. But she will nominate the Supreme Court justice for that position. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, back during the Depression, came out with the New Deal. And in the New Deal, there was a lot of things that he wanted to do that were unconstitutional and, in fact, failed the Supreme Court test. But at that time, several Supreme Court seats became open, and he was able to nominate and install Supreme Court justices that will rubber stamp everything he does. So if Hillary Clinton is able to fill these 4 seats with liberal judges, and potentially more seats than that, she will be able to get the Supreme Court to rubber stamp everything the federal government does. Now you think, well, she's there for 4 years, or she's there for 8 years. Supreme Court justices sit for life. So we are talking something that will filter down through multiple generations, will change the picture, the entire nature of this country. Liberal judge. They don't think that they are there to judge something based on the Constitution. They'll bring in precedents from other countries, legislate from the bench. You understand, Roe v. Wade wasn't really founded on a constitutional amendment. They said it was the 14th under liberty, but it didn't really wash, but they did it anyway. And the Supreme Court can do that. And since 1972, we have murdered 5 to 7 million unborn children in this country. 33% of those, to 33 to 35% of those, were black children. Now I understand you say, well, okay, 1/3 was black, that don't sound too bad. Black people only constitute 13.2% of the population. So their abortion rate is 2.5 times, approximately, their population. Well, Margaret Sprenger, that was her objective, was to rid us of the undesirables. And I think that people need to see that. You need to see the demographics of that abortion issue. And you're not going to hear about it on the mainstream media because they support all this stuff. They support the Democratic Party. They support Hillary Clinton. And I'm going to ask you, if you want to keep your constitutional rights, and if you want to, I'm not just talking about the second, I'm talking about all of them. If you want to put a stop to abortion, if you want to get rid of Obamacare, which is the vehicle that the government would pay for this massacre, then you got to vote for Trump. I don't mean Trump said something bad that made you mad, okay? I mean, look at the policies and look what's going to happen, okay? There was in ancient Israel, there was a king named Cyrus, okay, who was a pagan king, and he is the one that restored Jerusalem. He restored Israel. He restored a lot of other people that had been taken captive, but he restored Israel. And maybe Donald Trump is a Cyrus type. I think he believes in God. How strong a Christian he is, I don't know. Is he super conservative? No. But I'm going to tell you what, he's not ultra socialist liberal like Hillary Clinton. He's not. I want the jobs to come back to the United States. I want the factories to come back. I want us to tariff foreign goods and protect our markets, like Mr. Trump says. We can talk about all this discord and disarray, okay, people being disenfranchised, but there's nothing more disenfranchising than jobs not being available. We hear about all these states saying, well, we're going to get these jobs, and we're going to get these jobs. Talking about people, I got this job, I'm trying for that job. And essentially what we're doing is we're picking the scraps off the carcass because the meat went overseas. And the meat went overseas because we have these trade deals, because we don't charge duties to bring things in this country. We don't charge Mexico any duties at all. Our standard duty is 1.6%. If we sell something to Mexico, it's 25%. We sell something to China, depending on what it is, it could be 25% to 105%. So, are we going to continue this? And what I want to ask you, straight up, I want you to think about this. Do you want to give someone like Hillary Clinton the opportunity to mandate that we pay for, to promote, to push forward the murder of unborn children? Is that what you want? Because there's two ways to do that. There's two ways for you to do that. One is to go vote for her. Okay? Making yourself, aiding and abetting, and making yourself an accessory to it. Two is not voting and therefore becoming complacent. As far as these babies are concerned, you are just as complacent as the Germans who knew the Jews were being murdered and did nothing about it. I can't believe that the people of the United States are going to put someone in office, talk about the criminal activities, talk about the underhandedness, talk about the Clinton Foundation, the pay for play. Let's go a little bit on pay for play. Well, let's go a little bit on what she did as Secretary of State between Obama, her, and Kerry. We kicked Muammar Gaddafi out of Libya, and actually he's killed. And Libya is now belongs to the Muslim Brotherhood. There is a terrorist action from Libyan people, and our ambassador Chris Stevens and several others are brutally killed, while Hillary Clinton and Obama do nothing. They did not respond at all. They didn't respond in advance when they told them they thought it was coming. They didn't do anything during it. They just let them die. So now Libya, Gaddafi had been a bad boy in the past, but he had been pretty much beat down and collared. Then we have Muammar, or Egypt, okay? And the leader of Egypt we disposed, and the leader of Egypt was our friend, and he was also a friend of Israel. Well, now what's happening in Egypt with is that the Russians are going to step in. Let's understand this: the Russians are going to step in every place that we vacate. The Russians are in a negotiating, building a naval base in Egypt, and having joint military exercises with the Egyptians. Jordan, who had taken a loan from Russia, has now entered into an agreement to buy $400 million of Russian military hardware, which links them to the Russian military. Syria, which we went in after Assad, okay, and we're supporting people fighting Assad who happen to be ISIS. So when we arm them, we're arming ISIS, just like Saudi Arabia is arming ISIS. You know, and the Russians have built a naval base there. They are now fully, solidly present in the Mediterranean. The Russians with Turkey having withdrawn from NATO, the Russians are negotiating an agreement to come to an alliance with Turkey. You ever read the Bible when it talks about Gog and Magog? Because that's what we're looking at. And the Russians have supplied Iran, that we, of course, empowered their nuclear ability. They have supplied Iran with anti-aircraft missiles so that Iran can defend their nuclear sites. This is what these people have done. Obama, Clinton, largely, and Kerry. And we want to put her in a position to trust judgment? We've seen how vindictive she can be. Do we want to give her the nuclear trigger? Really? I can see no other option for a Christian than to vote for Mr. Trump. Don't stay home. Don't say, well, he said this and this, and I don't like him. Are you going to be voting for the lesser of two evils? Are you going to be making the moral choice? Moral choices are not always black and white. I hate to tell you that. They are not always black and white. Are you going to make the moral choice to say, we are not going to put this woman here who wants to murder our unborn children, who wants to strip us of our constitutional rights, who wants to dominate us, wants the federal government to dominate every aspect of our being? Let her put them Supreme Court justices and see what happens. It's not going to be pretty, and you're not going to like it. But if you voted for her, or if you stayed home and didn't vote at all, I want you to look in the mirror and say, that's my fault. I empowered her. I empowered these people to do this. And you would be absolutely correct. It is your fault. It is your fault. There's only two choices, Clinton or Trump. Forget about this Johnson clown. Okay? There's two choices. You got a day and less than a half to make up your mind. Are you going to take care of this country, or are you not? Are you going to support a woman who murders child, gladly supports Planned Parenthood, murders children, okay, has shown absolute incompetence at every level she's done, a super ultra socialist